By IOTV, get the best in HD free with IOTV. By Pepsi Max. By Budweiser, great times are waiting, grab some buds. By Parts Authority, the only name in auto parts you'll ever need to know. Visit them at partsauthority.com and become a VIP member today. By Lexus. And by New York Lottery, get the feeling, play Powerball from the New York Lottery. Hey, you never know. You can follow the Mets with the MLB.com @Bat11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Check in using @Bat at Citi Field to receive special offers, too. Text @Bat to 31826 or visit Mets.com for all the details. Take a look at the Empire State Building on a great night. We hope the rain holds off. We've got Game 2 of the double dip, Mets and Braves. Baseball tonight, presented in HD by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. Slight mist here at Citi Field. Hopefully the rain stays away. Mets looking to get even with Atlanta. And for the call tonight's game, Gary Cohen upstairs and Keith Hernandez has entered the building. Take it away, guys.
Well, it's always good when Keith enters the building because there's a buzz in the air.
Oh, yeah.
That's going for the split of the doubleheader after falling 6-5 in the opener. And even though the Mets lost the game, the way the Mets battled against Venters and Kimbrel in the 8th and 9th inning was very impressive.
And I thought poor Lucas Duda, the last out of the game, 3 sliders, 2 down and in, wicked, and then 1 back door caught looking, and I think that would have got Ted Williams. So it was just an incredible sequence of 3 pitches to end the game.
You know, you watch that pitch, and you can understand why Kimbrel's gone almost 3 months without allowing a run.
And the fact that he's got the fastball to go with it, too. So he's, you know, when someone's got a hard breaking ball with the velocity that he has and then has the fastball to go with it, that's a combination for success.
Well, the Mets are going to see another one of the Braves' young prospect pitchers tonight. 20-year-old Julio Teheran in the nightcap. But first, here's the Braves starting lineup brought to you by Ford. Virtually the same lineup as the first game. A little different batting order because Brian McCann gets the rest, but everybody else will play both games. The Braves are in a race. They're 7 games up on St. Louis with their first game win. So David Ross will catch, but everybody else goes double dip against Dylan G.
Well, G's is 4-2 in the second half of the season since the All-Star break, but it hasn't been that good. A good one, a bad one. The last outing against Washington, he got touched up pretty good. The time before against Florida, he pitched a good ball game. He needs to throw his curveball more. We've talked about that all year long. He can't just rely on the fastball and the changeup.
And the last 6 starts now, he's 2-2, 7.18. So it's really not going well for G down the stretch.
And the Alexis Mets defense, Turner back over at third base. Of course, we said that when Reyes came back, that Wright might get a spell here and there. Well, here's the opportunity to play both Tejada and Turner and see what they can do. And Turner really's played a good third base over the only 4 errors.
And Terry Collins said before game 1 that he'd give Wright and Bay and Pagan the second game off. He is giving Wright and Pagan the second game off, but Bay is in the lineup after hitting the grand slam in game 1.
I think Bay's in there, Gary, because he's starting to swing the bat much better.
Well, he had 2 hits in that first game, and I think this is as good a stretch as Jason Bay has had as a Met. I mean, he's had extra base hits in 4 straight games. He's driving the ball. And, Ronnie made the point in the first game. He pulled a ball on the outside part of the plate, and that's what he was doing when he was in Pittsburgh and Boston.
Well, he's a dead pull hitter, so good to see the grand slam, and 4 hits in the last 2 days. So he's in the lineup, hopefully to get a rhythm and build towards next year.
So now Michael Bourne will lead things off for Atlanta. A little misting rain blowing through. Shouldn't be too much as G gets set to throw the first pitch of game 2, and Bourne takes it inside for ball 1. Bourne was 0 for 4 in the opener, but he drove in a run when he was hit by a pitch in the 8th inning, and that run proved to be the difference in the game. Burdack came inside and hit him with a pitch after Igarashi had left the bases loaded for Burdack. At the time, it gave the Braves a 6-4 lead. Mets got a run back against Venters in the 8th, but fell a run short. Chipper Jones, who hit second in the first game, hit second again in the nightcap. And why not after a home run and a double? Bouncing ball past Turner, grabbed by Reyes, has to throw fit quickly, and Evans tries to make the tag, but Bourne goes by him, and that'll be an error charged to Reyes on the throw.
Boy, I tell you what, Bourne just hustled down that line, and that's why he beat it. And I think the speed of Bourne caused Reyes to just rush it a little bit. And you saw the tap of the glove, too, which Reyes has gotten into a habit of doing that of late.
See him coming overhand on the throwing motion to make sure that he doesn't sell the next one. So Bourne is aboard on the error, and now Chipper Jones, who doubled and hit his 16th home run of the year in the opener, his 48th career home run against the Mets. And there goes Bourne. The throw by Tolley is not in time, and Bourne keeps the hand on the bag for his 51st stolen base of the year. That leads the National League.
Well, I'll tell you what, don't you think that Freddie Gonzalez didn't have a little talk with his team before the game, this doubleheader? They got swept in Philadelphia, came in here, 10.5 back, kind of got blown out, lost a tough one last night. They showed me something coming out here and winning this first game, and he's got his main lineup in there. Freddie, I think the world of Freddie as a manager. This is a team right now that wants to not give St. Louis any inkling that they can creep into it for the wild card.
Now the Braves are going to St. Louis for a weekend series starting tomorrow night. So if they can win this game, they'll go in 7.5 in front. If they lose this game, it's 6.5. And the Cardinals have a little more hope. 2-0 to Chipper Jones. And a good changeup by G, 2-1.
Well, there it is right there. And he is the correct call. There's your Coors Light freeze cam. And the hustle of Bourne makes that happen.
Evans just missing the tag that he tried to apply to Bourne's back. See that light rain falling. Not seeming to bother the fans in the stands all that much. Nobody running for cover. And another good changeup by G, and it's 2-2. G's had a lot of experience pitching against Atlanta. In fact, his first start this season came in Atlanta after the Mets had been swept in a doubleheader the day before. He pitched in at the 6th inning, allowed just 1 run. Pitched 7 scoreless against the Braves here in New York, and then 4 more scoreless before rain knocked him out in Atlanta in the middle of June. It wasn't until the last time he faced the Braves that they finally got to him. That was on August the 7th. They got 5 runs in 5 innings against him. So G in 5 lifetime starts against Atlanta has a 2.83 ERA. But these have not been easy days for Dillon coming down the stretch of his first full major league season. Strike 3 called, and he gets chipper looking. Just a steady diet of changeups for the first out.
I think that Chipper, late in his career now, I think he's more of a guess hitter than he's ever been. I guess he did not expect that many changeups in a row. Probably was looking for a fastball in, sold out on it, and didn't get it.
So one away now, Freddie Freeman, who was 3 for 5 in the opener with a double and a couple of RBIs, and was robbed of a hit on a great play by Nick Evans. Otherwise, he would have had a 4th hit. Bourne at second and 1 out, and Freeman takes the changeup wide for ball 1. And Dillon leaning heavily on his changeup in the first inning.
Well, Freeman's one of those hitters you got to be careful. He goes the other way naturally, goes up the middle, so it's going to make him a good off-speed hitter. He's had a fine season.
One of the things that has characterized Dillon G this year, despite his struggles lately, has been his ability to control left-hand hitters. Lefties are hitting just 195 against him.
Well, that's the changeup, and you can see the sprinkling rain right there.
On the ground. And Ruben Tejada takes care of Freeman for the second out as Bourne moves over to third. Freeman not running well down the line. He's got a quad injury, and so he is not running hard on routine ground balls as they try and nurse him through his final month in his rookie year.
And the sink was the one that got, you can see right there, and that's pretty much in second gear.
So 2 out, Bourne now at third, and here's Dan Uglow, 1 for 5 in the opener. Had a base hit his last time up against Bobby Parnell. G trying to work around the error by Reyes here in the opening inning. And a ground ball toward the middle, and that's going to sneak through for a base hit and bring home Bourne with the game's first run. So the Braves played an unearned run. Uglow with an RBI single, his 73rd run batted in.
Well, the hustle of Bourne. Stolen base. First ball, fastball hitting by Ugla, and they steal a run. I've been looking at Hayward swinging. I know he's got the bad shoulder, and got a little criticism from Chipper Jones early to come off, get back and play with a little bit of pain. But it seems to me his swing is a little bit altered this year, Garrett. It just seems like his shoulder is bothering him in his swing, and it's reflective of his batting average.
How can you see that his shoulder's bothering?
I just see him favoring that front shoulder and coming and not the inability to extend his hands when he swings out. He kind of brings his hands back in across his body on his follow through, which I think is favoring his shoulder.
Hayward 1 for 3 in the opener, and he takes a strike. Was he this far from the plate last year?
I can't recall. I know that he had he has kind of an unorthodox swing. And, you know, it may not be that he has any pain anymore. He's back in here playing every day. But what happens when you play with a little bit of pain and you favor, like in his case, his shoulder, and say that can get you into a bad habit with your swing.
G's ahead of him 1-2. And goes right back to the changeup to strike him out. So G strikes out 2 in the inning, but the Braves played an unearned run and lead it 1-0 as the Mets come to bat. Reyes, who didn't start the first game, does start the second. Turner plays third base. Willie Harris in center field. And Josh Tolley gets the start behind the plate in game 2 against the rookie right-hander Julio Teheran. Just his third major league start. The first 2 came back in May. Jose Reyes leads off, and Reyes lines a base hit. So Reyes, who had a pinch hit single in the opening game, has a base hit his first time up in this game and stretches his lead in the National League batting race.
Isn't it funny how this game goes? If you look at the starting pitcher, I'll get back to Reyes. Julio Teheran from Colombia, of all places. They play soccer there. He was signed for $850,000 signing bonus. You can see he's been roughed up in his first 2 starts, but 15-3 in AAA with a 2.55 earned run average. 122 strikeouts in 145 innings.
Reyes with that base hit now has an 11-game hitting streak, and here's Justin Turner, 2 for 5 in the opener today. He now has an 8-game hitting streak and fouls back the first pitch. The Mets have come out hacking against Teheran.
He's a young man, throws a hard fastball, mid-90s, has a fading changeup, which is his best secondary pitch, and a curveball, which he can get supposedly can get all of them over, but we'll see. We'll watch him very closely.
He was the most valuable pitcher and rookie of the year in the International League this year, pitching for Gwinnett AAA. As Keith mentioned, 15-3, 2.55. Just 20 years old. He's the 3rd youngest player in the major leagues right now. Reyes not in running mode, and Teheran keeps an eye on him. Reyes got aboard to lead off the 9th inning against Kimbrel with a base hit and never moved.
I was watching, actually I had dinner up at the Acela Club during the entire first game.
How was the food?
Food was outstanding. I had a nice tuna salad. Delicious.
Turner takes one the other way for a base hit. So the Mets start game 2 with back-to-back base hits from Reyes and Turner.
We'll take a look at the Coors Light Atlanta Brave defense. And Uggla, who has never been a great fielder, to say the least, 15 errors on this season. I remember Prado was the second baseman, moved out to left field when Chipper Jones had all those injuries. There's Jared Jurgens. He's got difficulties right now.
Got a bone bruise on his knee. That is a great concern to the Braves. So here's Lucas Duda, 2 for 5 in the opener, including a long double off the center field fence. And he takes high for ball 1.
You know, getting back to Reyes, it's just such a funny game. When he came back off the second injury, he's kind of puttering around a little bit, couldn't get the engine started, but getting his 1 hit every day. And wouldn't you know it, the extra inning game in Florida, he's 0 for 3. And if it goes regulation, he winds up 1 for 4 on the day. But it goes extra innings, he winds up getting 3 hits, and ever since then I think that's ignited him.
Since that 9th inning on Tuesday night, he's got 6 hits in his last 7 at bats.
It just that got him going,
and he's now up to 338 on the year. 1-1 to Duda, and a good fastball by Teheran in on him, and it's 1-2. Jason Bay, who had the grand slam and had 2 hits in the opener, waiting on deck. He's hitting cleanup in game 2. 1-2 from Teheran, and Duda fouls it back. Teheran had a wonderful year in AAA, but he really struggled in his last start 7 days ago. He gave up 6 runs in 3 innings in Norfolk, and you wonder whether he's wearing down a little bit. He's at 145 minor league innings, throwing his big league starts, and he's at a 154. Now, he threw about 140 last year, so he's pretty much on pace, but you have to be concerned if you're the Braves that maybe he doesn't have a whole lot left in the tank. We'll see. Here's the 1-2 to Duda, and changeup missing.
There's the changeup, and it is fading right there, and he doesn't give it away with his motion. Very interesting that Colombia, it's soccer. It's all about soccer.
Well, there have been a couple of prominent players from Colombia recently, Edgar Renteria and Orlando Cabrera, excellent shortstops. Hit in the air to right field. Over toward the line comes Hayward. Tagging at second is Reyes. And both runners tag. Turner will hold as Reyes goes to third. So Duda makes the first out, but now the Mets have runners at the corners with 1 out.
No, I think Duda just missed that changeup. Got a little bit out in front.
So here's Jason Bay. Jason hit his second grand slam of the year in the first inning of Game 1.
No, he got a hanger right there up in the strike zone. No doubt about it.
Those are the only 4 runs Mike Minor allowed in his 5 innings as he wound up the winning pitcher. Chris Schwinden in his big league debut took the loss. Bay now has a 6-game hitting streak, and perhaps more importantly, he has extra base hits in 4 straight games. So he's beginning to drive the ball in a way that we really haven't seen from Jason with any consistency over his Mets tenure. Now 12 home runs on the year, 52 driven in.
Oh, good.
Here's a good curveball by Tehran.
How about that? That's a big sweeper. Took something off.
Now this is why everybody is so high on Tehran. This is a kid who signed for a huge bonus in 2007. A lot of competition. The Yankees were in the market for him, but the Braves won him. Got the fastball on the hands of Bay, and it's 1-2. I mean, he may or may not be ready now, but the stuff is electric.
Anytime someone goes 15-3 in the minor leagues, I don't care what classification you're in, that's going to draw attention. It's all about command, and will they take that next step where they can throw all those pitches for strikes whenever they want, and that's the difference. But a lot of great arms, and guys come up with great curveballs or a great changeup, and they never pan out because they just don't have the consistency.
Well, the Braves have had such a pipeline of pitching talent over the years, and they've got both Tehran and Randall Delgado, another impressive young pitcher, working for them right now. Delgado pitched on Sunday, and remember his first start earlier this year, he made a no-hit bid. So Braves have a lot of young pitching in the pipeline, and with the injuries to Tommy Hanson and Jair Jurgens, they may need one of those guys as they head toward the postseason. One and 2 to Bay, and Turner back to the bag.
Well, the Phillies have to be feeling pretty good about themselves, particularly winning in the fashion they did last night, coming from behind late. To sweep this Brave team, that kind of makes a statement right there.
Next time they might meet would be in the National League Championship Series. Here's the 1-2, and it's in the dirt. Nicely stopped by Ross. 2-2. The only 2 younger players in the major leagues right now than Julio Tehran are the Angels outfielder Mike Trout, who just turned 20, and Tigers right-hander Jake Turner, who's also 20, but a couple of months younger than Tehran.
Is Mike Trout related in any way to Steve Trout, the pitcher?
I don't believe so. Reyes will tag at third as Bourne settles under it. Bourne's throw will go to second. Reyes comes in to score. So the Mets tie it on the sacrifice fly by Jason Bay. It's 1-1. 53rd run batted in for Bay, and his 5th of the doubleheader. And Reyes scores his 87th run. Now Willie Harris hitting 5th in the order and playing center field. Just the 3rd time he's played center field this year. And Willie's been swinging the bat a lot better lately. 6 hits in his last 16 at bats.
Tough job, Willie. You know, the bench player, the bench role. It's so difficult. I'll tell you what, for a young man, he sure has not forgotten that Turner's a threat to steal. He's thrown over a lot. A lot of young pitchers would just forget about the runners and be so focused on getting the out at home plate.
I would have to believe that the bench is calling the majority of those throws. And it starts Harris off with the changeup.
He's going to have to be careful with the left-handers on that changeup. Make sure he gets that thing away. You don't want to ever leave a changeup out over the middle.
Turner's running, and Harris fouls it back.
Up and in fastball. Well, I guess with all the weather the New Yorkers have gone through of late, but this little misty sprinkle is nothing.
Spit on it.
I'm so glad we were on the road during that downpour.
We had a pretty good downpour when we got home last night. Here's the 0-2 and the breaking ball low and in. Flooding all over the place.
I had to empty the water out of my pool. My pool was almost up to the brim, ready to overflow. I had to turn on the drain.
Why did you jump in and go for a swim?
Come and check the chemicals, please, in the pool before I jump in.
All I know is that all the Westchester parkways were flooded today.
I heard that.
Sawmill, the Hutch, the Bronx River, all out of commission. Had to take the circuitous route. Here's the 1-2. And the breaking ball is down. 2-2 to Harris. Reyes and Turner with back-to-back hits to start the inning. An advancing fly ball by Duda and a sac fly by Bay, getting the Mets a run against Julio Teheran. His last big league start was May the 18th in Arizona. Went 4 innings, allowed 2 runs, 6 hits. So it's been a while since he last pitched in a big league game. And Harris takes the fastball high and away, and it's 3-2. So Willie, after falling in an 0-2 hole, has worked it to a full count as Roger McDowell looks on at one of his young charges.
Roger's got to be extremely happy. The Braves just keep finding these young arms.
It's like a trainer with a 2-year-old in the barn. Always got hope. Turner will run. 3-2. And Harris hits the curveball up the middle for a base hit. Turner on his way to third. And the Mets have their 3rd hit of the inning. So a nice at bat for Willie Harris. It's the best groove he's been in a long time.
Curveball 3-2. Not a bad pitch. Good hitting. A little bit of a lazy breaking ball.
So now Nick Evans. Evans drove in a run with a long sacrifice fly against Johnny Venters in the 8th inning in Game 1.
The Mo zone strikes again.
Yeah. But I thought just, against a guy like Venters, to be able to drive the ball the other way the way Nick did.
Well, Venters got that sinker up, and really, if you're a right-hand hitter, your approach to Venters has got to be away. He's going to throw you that sinker away.
Well, Nick has been doing something every day.
Yes, he has.
Had that great catch of a line drive against Freeman in Game 1, and that sac fly. Now Teheran ahead of him 0-2.
Nick is very quiet demeanor. What you see at the plate, Nick, that's the way he is around the clubhouse. Very soft-spoken. Not a chatterbox, to say the least.
Saw that close-up of Teheran, the patch on the left sleeve. Ernie with the microphone honoring Ernie Johnson Sr., Braves pitcher and broadcaster who passed away last month. Just a wonderful man. In tight to Evans 2-2. Josh Tolley waiting on deck. Two and two now to Evans, 1st and 3rd and 2 out. And the curveball struck him out. So Julio Teheran has his first strikeout, and he limits the Mets to 1 run in the opening inning. 1-1 after 1 in Game 2. Game remembrance to begin at 7:30 p.m. Misting, blowing rain, not amounting to a whole lot. Second inning in a 1-1 game. Martin Prado leads off against Dylan G. Prado 3 for 5 in the opener, and he drove in a run. And if you put his 3 hits all together, you might have one line drive. Well, he had a ground ball behind the bag at second that Turner almost threw him out on. He had a bloop to left and a bloop to right.
And guess what? When you pick up the paper tomorrow and you see that, you'll see it's 3 líneas.
Alex Gonzalez on deck, and then David Ross in the second. That's when you're living right?
Yep.
G gets ahead 1-2. Dylan's won 12 games this year and lost 5, even though he's faltered lately. Tejada fields the grounder from Prado, 1 out. The last Met rookie pitcher to win more than 12 games in a season was Doc Gooden in his extraordinary 1984 rookie season. Doc won 17 that year. So G has a chance to get to 13 wins for the first time since then for any Met rookie starter. Here's Alex Gonzalez, 1 for 4 with a double in the opener, getting at .229 for the year, and he pops one foul backing out of play. Seems with Gonzalez, he just goes up there trying to hit a home run.
He's a free swinger. He's kind of lackadaisical, it seems. In the field, he gets a little loose, too loose sometimes. He's a good player. There's no question about that.
Drops down a bunt attempt with Turner playing back at third. Well, Jay Horwitz has been lying in his hospital bed since early this morning when the Mets' vaunted vice president of media relations suffered a severely sprained and broken ankle that's going to require surgery. And I think, what are we, about 12 hours out since he hurt himself? Swing and a miss, and Gonzalez is down. He must be stir crazy by now.
Jay, my advice to you is 24 hours ice. We want you back in the lineup.
I don't think that's going to really help right here. I mean, they say that ankle is so swollen that they have to wait 4 more days before they can perform the surgery.
Well, I'm sure they've got it elevated and iced, and
I just hope they have him on good painkillers.
Am I correct that Jay has never missed a game?
No, Jay has missed games. He missed, I believe, in 30-plus years, he's missed 3 games. He had the chicken pox once.
I remember that, yes. I thought he looked cute.
With chicken pox?
With freckles, yes.
Did he come to work with the chicken pox? I was in Chicago. He had to be quarantined there. Ground ball down to third. Turner's got it. Well, Jay, of course, Keith and I wish you our best, and you hang in there, kid.
Yes, Jay.
1-2-3 inning for Dylan G. Game tied at 1 in the second. On SNY, are available in HD, presented by IOTV. You can listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Mets will welcome in the Cubs tomorrow. Keith will be here tomorrow night.
Yes, I will.
Not Saturday, not Sunday, but he'll be here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but not Thursday.
It's so.
Did I get that right?
You did. It's so strange to be playing other division teams so late, huh? We've got Cincinnati.
That's the last 3 games of the year
Yeah.
in Cincinnati.
Very strange.
Mets were at Wrigley Field very early in the season. Actually, it wasn't that early. It was the middle of May, and it was freezing. Were you there for that?
Where was that? I'm sorry.
Wrigley Field?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
I got hammered in the paper about complaining about the weather. Remember, I was shivering.
It was very cold.
It was as cold as
It
you
was
get.
cold. It was the middle of May, and it was freezing.
Yep.
Here's Josh Tolley, 0 for 1.
I think I got it from Mushnick as well as Raceman. I got a double-barrel shotgun.
Really?
Yeah, for complaining about the chill.
I'm sure they had something else to write about that day.
Oh, it's okay.
Tolley takes the strike as he was jumping back. Ronnie Polino started the first game. Mike Nickius came in late. And now Tolley starting the nightcap. Josh has not played much over the last few days. Ever since he took that Miguel Batista fastball off his wrist. But in there here for this one. Hitting at 260 on the year. Ruben Tejada on deck, and then Dylan G. Terry Collins' team has continued to play hard every day as we move toward the stretch of the season. 10 wins in the last 14 games, and even in game 1 today, battling late against 2 of the best relief pitchers in the game. Terry was talking before the game about how you can tell if guys are giving away at bats. And it's his contention that nobody has done that here.
No, not at all. This team has played hard throughout. And, I said it the other day, last night after the game. They went through a stretch of games now. 2 series with Florida.
Tolley has a base hit.
And 1 with Washington, and 4 out of 5 they took. What? Let's see, 6 out of 8. 6 out of 8 from.
Would you like a calculator?
Oh God, help me out here.
They've won 10 of their last 14.
Yes, but against the teams in the division, so they've earned their 3rd place right now. Thank you, Gary.
Anytime. Now Ruben Tejada, and the Mets are 7-7 with the Braves this year. So they've held their own against Atlanta, even though they've struggled so badly against Philadelphia. Tejada had a rough first game. He went 0 for 5, and it looks like he's starting to get a little big with his swing the last couple of games. And he takes the curveball for a strike from Tehran. So it's Tehran against Tejada. Tehran, not from Iran, but from Colombia. Big difference.
Yes.
He's from Cartagena in Colombia.
Oh, the old Spanish port.
Most of the players who have come from Colombia to the major leagues are from Barranquilla, which is a little enclave where they actually do play a lot of baseball. But Tehran from Cartagena, which, as you mentioned, is much more soccer country. Tejada pops one foul, and Freeman watches it go out of play. Well, there is the wild card standings in the National League. Braves were 6.5 up when the day began. The Cardinals are off today. They're gearing up for their series with the Braves in St. Louis this weekend. The Giants just can't score runs. The Giants are 7 back in the West and 8 back in the wild card now. Got shut down by Aaron Harang last night.
Well, I tell you, with Arizona 7 games in front, I just got to believe that if they hang on, and it looks like, well, they should. Boy, the manager of the year, just because who would have thought that that team would have been anywhere close to first division, let alone on top.
I mean, Kirk Gibson is going to get, I would think, the vast majority of those votes for manager of the year. Curveball hit in the air to center. And Bourne puts it away. 1 out. So Tejada retired. Tolley back to first. And now Dylan G will come to bat. The Diamondbacks play tonight. They are hosting San Diego, and Ian Kennedy is going for his 19th win. Kennedy 18-4 on the year. G has 5 hits and 6 sacrifices this year, with Tolley at first and 1 out.
Get the bat
off that bunt attempt.
He's got to get the bat out in front. See, you watch him get the bat out. He brings it back. You've got to get the bat out in front of your body and keep it there. Don't bring it back and then go forward with it. That's called stabbing.
The best description I've ever heard about bunting is, they say, catch the ball on your bat.
If you can visualize that and it connects, it makes sense. It doesn't make sense to me. But I never was called on to bunt in my career. Very, a handful of times.
That's what happens when you're a star, number 3 hitter.
Petrified when I had the bunt on a couple of times early in my career. Petrified.
Well, I would imagine if you're a big hitter in the minors, they never ask you to bunt there.
No, definitely not. It was not something I worked on.
But if you're a pitcher, it's all you should be working on at the plate. And another foul ball.
Well, throughout my career, pitchers, you talk about what they need to work on. They can help themselves with their bat, too. And so many times over my career, pitchers would have home run derby in batting practice. And would it be dinner or whatever, by whoever won the home run derby. But to me, that was counterproductive. They should have been up there trying to hit, base hits.
And G with 2 strikes gets the bunt down. 3-4 on the sacrifice, moving Tolley along to second. Well, I am told that you had 10 sacrifice bunts in your career.
I actually was successful in 10 sacks.
10 sacks, but none after 1983. So once you got here, your bunting days were over.
Whitey had me bunt once. So I think a lot of those bunts were early in my career, probably with Brad Shandy.
So now Jose Reyes, who singled to center to open the first inning and came around to score. Jose now with 6 hits in his last 7 at bats, up to 338 on the year. Trying to pick up Tolley from second with 2 out. And takes low one in from Tehran. Let's see what Ryan Braun has done so far tonight. As you look at Justin Turner on deck. Brewers playing the Phillies. Braun is 0 for 1. Two and 0 to Reyes. You can just see the way he's tracking the ball right now. This is back to where he was 2 months ago.
Well, you can't turn it on like a light switch. You missed a lot of time. Reyes wants to win the batting title. I don't care if you're in last place or you're in first place, fighting out with a division rival.
And he rips this one, caught by Freeman. Side retired. So Reyes just hitting line drives every time up now. But Freeman in the right place to grab that one. After 2 in game 2, Mets and Braves all time. who holds the Braves single season record for saves. Let's see, we had the Braves single season record for home runs in game 1. That had us stumped. So we're going to a different category of Braves. Julio Teheran looking for his first big league hit, and he lines one to center, but Willie Harris doesn't have to move an inch. 1 out. So 1 out and nobody on. Michael Bourne coming up. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt.
So, guys, the Mets take batting practice every day. Did you ever stop to think about who throws batting practice every day? It's one of those little things about the game that kind of gets taken for granted. Certainly, well, the coaches will chip in and all throw a little bit of batting practice. But look at Dave Racanello. He's been the Mets bullpen coach for bullpen catcher now for a while. And I was talking to him, and he estimates he has about 50,000 throws a year. That's between long toss and catching guys warming up and throwing batting practice. I mean, think about it. He's out there throwing batting practice to a couple of groups a day, right? That's 4 rounds of batting practice. Then he's warming up the starting pitcher. He says normally at least the first 35 pitches of the warm-up. Sometimes the catcher will come in for more. At least the starting catcher will come in for the last 10 pitches of that warm-up. Then he's warming up relievers, and they'll get out there and they'll throw 20 to 30 pitches warming up. That's throws back. And he doesn't really do anything special for his arm. He does some rotator cuff exercises, but he's just been blessed with a Brazilian arm. He was a catcher in college. And, it's one of those things that goes unnoticed. But, Keith, you could speak to this. It's obviously a very important job. And, he said there was a time 3 years ago, spring training, my arm was sore, pretty sore, enough that I had to shut it down for a week, and I was really worried. I was worried about my job, if I would lose it, if I would get it back again. But the Mets were great, and they gave me the time off, and it was okay. And I asked them, when you're in batting practice, especially early on, is there pressure to throw strikes? As Bourne grounds out and there's 2 down. He said, I got really just a great thing earlier when I signed with the Mets. Edgardo Alfonso came up to me and said, listen, I don't care if you throw strikes. Just throw the ball. Just get up there and throw the ball. It's helpful to us. And he said, for me to have that guy, who's such a talented player, come up and tell me to relax, best thing I ever heard. Guys?
That's great psychiatry by Edgardo, because Eduardo, I never wanted to get the batting practice pitcher nervous. You got to figure there was guys out there that were pitching to Darryl Strawberry, to Gary Carter, and they're nervous, that they're new. The one thing you don't want them doing is getting tight, and then they'll lose the strike zone. So you kind of just always give them a pat in the back, give them encouragement, tell them, hey, you're throwing great, even if they're stinking it up in the beginning, and they loosen up, they get relaxed, they feel comfortable. It's very important to have good BP pitchers.
0-2 to Chipper Jones. Did you have one guy over the course of your career who was like your favorite guy to hit batting practice on?
Well, Dave Ricketts, the late Dave Ricketts, was the bullpen coach for years with the Pirates and the Cardinals. He threw great BP. He could throw all day long. Buddy Harrelson threw great BP.
Now, some teams have, lefty BP pitchers to get teams ready to face left-handers.
Should be a must.
Yeah.
A must. It should be a must. In the old days when I came up, it wasn't. When I got a left-hand pitch, I should have been strike 3 right there. Chipper got the veteran call. When I was a left-hander throwing, I wanted a left-handed pitcher out there throwing BP to me, tuning me up. And I used to get a lefty to throw me some breaking balls.
Well, that was going to be my next question. As Chipper goes down on strikes, we'll talk more about that next inning, about how BP pitchers throw and what's most useful. 1-1 in the middle of the 3rd. Brought to you by Rums of Puerto Rico. Just think Puerto Rican rum aged by law for true excellence. To learn why Puerto Rico does it better, visit rumcapital.com. Julio Teheran has given up 4 hits over the first 2 innings, but only 1 run in his 3rd major league start. Justin Turner will lead off in the 3rd. Mets and Braves playing a doubleheader in which all 4 starting pitchers are rookies. Mets had Chris Schwinden in his major league debut pitched the opener against Mike Minor, who's a rookie. Dylan Gee, a rookie, against Julio Teheran. Since 1965, this is only the 4th major league doubleheader with 4 rookie starting pitchers. And amazingly, the Mets have been involved in 3 of the 4. As Turner takes a strike. Back in 1976, the Mets had a doubleheader against the Expos. Nino Espinosa and Bob Myrick were the starters for the Mets, both rookies, against 2 guys I don't remember at all, Joe Keener and Gerald Hannes for Montreal. That was September of '76. Then in 1977, there was a Brewers Blue Jays doubleheader with 4 rookies. And then in 2006, this is interesting because you have 4 pitchers who stuck. The Mets played the Marlins. It was the middle of July, and you had 4 rookies. John Maine and Mike Pelfrey for the Mets. Josh Johnson and Ricky Nolasco for the Marlins. Hit hard down to 3rd. Chipper has trouble snagging it. Finally does and throws out Turner. And that was Pelfrey's major league debut. The 2nd game of that doubleheader, that 17-3 game when he beat the Marlins, which is still the only time he's beaten the Marlins. And now tonight. So over the last 46 years, it's only happened 4 times. The Mets have been involved 3 of the 4. Here's Duda, who flied to right his first time up. Ball and a strike to Duda with Jason Bay on deck. 20-year-old Julio Teheran. We were talking about batting practice pitching in the last inning, Keith, and you, right as we were going to break, started talking about lefties throwing you curveballs. And I've always wondered why, when guys take batting practice pitchers don't throw breaking balls.
Because it's tough on their arms, number one. The left-handers, they would only bring in my day when there was a left-handed starter. So there wouldn't be a lefty throwing BP the day there was a right-hand starter. They'd have all right-handers to everybody, all the position players, the bench players and the starters of that day. Now, I didn't want, when I say I wanted a breaking ball, Gary, I don't want a hard breaking ball. I want a lazy little bender so I can just track the ball and its break. BP is BP. It's supposed to make us look good. And you want to work on your things in batting practice, hit your line drives, use all the field. And I always wanted to see the breaking ball. I would do the first two. You do first round, one bunt, 2 bunts, a hit and run, get the runner over as if the situation was a runner on second base, nobody out. You want to get them over or in, right? So you pull, and then you get 10 swings. You get 2 rounds, sometimes 3 rounds of 10. I would take 2.5 rounds of fastballs, and in the last 5, have them throw me breaking balls. And in the next round, I would get around another 5.
Day drives one to left, and over comes Prado to reel it in and end the inning. So the Mets go 1-2-3 in the 3rd. Let's go to the Verizon studios for an update from Matt Cerrone of Mets Blog, presented by Verizon. In a 1-1 game, Freddie Freeman leads off against Dylan G. Freeman grounded out to second base his first trip, and the curveball sits high for ball 1. It'll be Freeman, Ugla, and Hayward. That's 3, 4, and 5 in the order for Atlanta in the 4th. G's allowed just 1 hit. That was Ugla's RBI single in the 1st, and Freeman lifts one out to right field. And Lucas Duda waiting for it to come down. 1 away.
You know, guys, we've been talking about batting practice pitchers, and Keith, it's just, you know, it's cool to listen to you and what was important to you. And today, you know, I notice when the guys take it, they don't wear any helmets. And is that just a comfort thing? I mean, is that trust in the pitcher? Is that, you know, why do you think that is?
I just think things have gotten a little looser. Remember, Kev, when Buck Showalter managed Texas and he had a run-in with Alex Rodriguez, and Buck was old school, wanted all his players to wear hats out in the field in spring training, and Alex went out without a hat and got a little bit of hot water with Buck. And I'm from the old school. My father, I went in there when I was a kid in Little League, and when I was in high school, my dad was throwing BP to me. Went in without a hat, and he'd say, "Put the helmet on." Helmet, Kevin, not a hat. I said, "Oh, come on, Dad." And he goes, "Nope, you don't hit without a helmet. So you want to stay focused. You're always going to hit with that brim of the brim of the hat. You always want to have it where you practice what you do in the game. Now that can be overkill. I just don't think so. But you know, things are much more lax today. There's nothing wrong if they want to, you know, hit without a hat on. That's fine and dandy with me. But you know, when I played, you had to wear your helmet up at the plate. And you think, but today you've got the first and third base coaches today, because of that tragedy where the coach got killed in the minor leagues, wearing helmets and having to wear helmets. You think that would be in play in batting practice, that the players would have to wear helmets in BP.
As much in the field as at the plate when you've got coaches hitting fungos at the same time guys are swinging in the bat in the cage.
I cannot tell you, Gary, Kev, how many times, you know, I would not be hitting. I'd be taking my ground balls at first base, and I'm exposed. I'm playing back. I'm working on my ground balls. I'm throwing the shortstop, and you get a coach that hits the ball right when the pitch is being thrown in BP. I almost got killed a couple times. And I got mad at Del Maxfield one time, who was a good friend, the shortstop for the Cardinals. He did. I almost got killed by a line drive.
10 in a row retired by Dylan G. That's his 4th strikeout. Still 1-1. A click away with insider info on Gangrene as they gear up for the 2011 season, plus player profiles and exclusive video on Jets blog, featured on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Mets come up in the bottom of the fourth in a 1-1 game after the Braves won the opener 6-5. Willie Harris, Nick Evans, and Josh Tolley up against the rookie right-hander Julio Teheran, who's bidding for his first big league win. Harris singled to center his first time up. And a breaking ball misses badly for ball one. Before we let go of this topic of batting practice, there's just one thing that I can't shake, and that is that hitters make their living trying to hit 90-mile-an-hour fastballs and quality curveballs. So why wouldn't you want to practice against 90-mile-an-hour fastballs and quality breaking balls?
Because it's game speed, and you cannot get a rhythm. Remember, when you're hitting a breaking ball, the key to hitting a breaking ball, Gary, and when the good breaking ball hitters, and the difference between the good and the bad breaking ball hitters, is that the guys that can hit a breaking ball are always out in front. It's speed. They see this thing spinning, and they go out and get it. The guys that hit it are good breaking ball hitters. Let the ball break into the bat. You slow it down.
Harris hooks one to right field, and Hayward to the edge of the track to grab it.
Do you remember the old curveball machine
with
the two tires?
Mm-hmm.
I loved that machine. It made me the breaking ball hitter I became, and I would put it at the. For the folks that don't know, it's a machine that sits around chest high. It has two white tires, and they're horizontal to the ground, and they're spinning. And I guess I will have to show you here. It's two tires that spin like this, and you feed it in a funnel right here, and the ball goes between the two tires that are spinning. And you can change the arc of the tire like this for a right-hand curveball. You can do different arcs. And I'll try to make this as quick as possible. I didn't want you could throw a 90-mile-an-hour slider up there, Gary, by putting it at a fast speed and not tilting so much. I didn't want that because I don't want to take BP to rush. I would put at this big angle like this, the slowest speed. It would throw a big old slow rainbow hook, and that made me, particularly the right-hander, it made me see the ball, and I had time because it was incredibly slow to wait and let the ball come into my bat right here. And there are guys that can't hit the breaking ball. If you can show me one more time, and I'll just try to make this a visual for you. And the key, and we'll wait till after this pitch.
And Tolley helps you out by lining a 2-out hit.
Thank you. So the guys that speed up on curveballs, they go and hit the curveball out here, because they get nervous and they rush after it. When the right-hand curveball comes in and it's slow, it made me see the thing come in, and I hit it right here. So if I wanted to hit it to right field, I would hit it further back. If I wanted to pull it, I wouldn't go here and hit it. I'd hit it here. But I was able to relax and be a methodical, slow thought process, and that machine made me a good breaking ball hitter. And Dave Ricketts, to his credit, the late Dave Ricketts, turned me on to that. I was with the Cardinals. And I would go back late on days. I would go out when I wasn't playing in spring training, and I would go back into the cage, and I'd set up that machine, and I'd hit off that curveball machine all the time in spring training.
Now, do you see guys doing that now?
The cages are all underneath now.
I don't see a lot of guys hitting off curveball machines or off batting practice pitchers. Practice pitchers throwing curveballs.
I haven't seen actually that machine at all anymore. That curveball machine.
I'm sure they have an updated version of it.
I loved it.
Ruben Tejada flied to center his first time up.
And then they had the advanced latter part of my career with the Mets, and only Atlanta had it in the cage, where they had in the backdrop, they had a camera projector behind you, projecting where the ball would come out would be where the pitcher's hand was. It was a motion picture of a pitcher winding up. I didn't like that. It was just too disruptive, too distracting. It wasn't real enough.
Little flare right into the glove of Freeman, and that retires the side. A hit and one left. Teheran looking sharp after 4, tied at 1. Braves single season saves leader.
Gene Garber? Oh, how can I forget?
Smoltz, who went from being a starter to being one of the great relievers for a short period of time. That'll solidify his induction into the Hall of Fame when his time comes, which would probably be, what, about 3 years from now? Smoltz been out of the game a couple of years.
Yep. He was, of all the big three that came up, and of course Maddox came up with the Cubs.
Right.
But Smoltz and Glavine came up with the Braves. Smoltz was the one that got my attention when he was a diamond in the rough.
Martin Prado leads off the fifth. Well, of course, Smoltz was with the Tigers, and the Braves got him in that famous trade for Doyle Alexander. The Tigers were in the stretch drive in 1987 as Prado lines one into left center for a base hit. Harris has to hustle over to get to it at the edge of the track, and Prado easily to second base with a leadoff double. Just the second hit off Dylan G., who had retired 10 in a row.
Well, Prado just always is a thorn in the Mets' side.
So runner in scoring position with nobody out. Alex Gonzalez the batter. Anyway, the Tigers picked up Doyle Alexander, and he went 9-0 down the stretch for them, and they made the postseason.
When they traded Doyle Alexander for Smoltz, I was a very happy camper. Doyle Alexander had one of the greatest curveballs I ever faced. And he was goofy out there, too. He'd knock you down, and he had that herky-jerky motion, and he just was squirrely. And you just didn't know what was going on. But he was all elbows and you know what, and all of a sudden here comes this wicked curveball. He was wicked.
So the Tigers got the short-term benefit of that deal. They made the postseason that year, although they didn't go far. But it was a devastating deal for Smoltz because he grew up in Michigan. Huge Tiger fan. His dad worked at Tiger Stadium, the whole deal, and came over to the Braves. And if memory serves, his first big league start was against the Mets. And he was off and running. To the left side and right. Turner with a nice lunging grab and throws it in the dirt. And Evans, who has been picking him with regularity, does it again. So Turner with a beautiful play at third base.
Well, nice, completely stretched out and not hustling down the line as Gonzalez. He had a chance to beat this out. And again, Mr. Evans, this is not an easy pick. Nicely done, Nick. And a backhand, too. Just not hustling. I don't know if he's hurt.
Well, he doesn't hit it to the right side, and he doesn't run it out. That's like a double whammy. So the go-ahead run still at second with one out. Now David Ross, who grounded out to third his first time up. It's July 23rd, 1988. Smoltz made his big league debut against the Mets. 8 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, 6-1 Atlanta win, and he was on his way.
I wonder if I was DL'd in that game. That was the year I got hurt. I was DL'd? See, that's why.
That's why he got off to the fast start. If you had been healthy, you would have gotten a couple of hits. He would have been devastated and, never would have made it. Of course, Magadan was subbing for you when he drove in the only run for the Mets.
Oh, well. Mance could hit, huh?
Yes, he
could. That just shows how good our bench was.
Well, when Magadan finally got a chance to play in 1990 when the Mets had Mike Marshall, but he didn't really pan out, Magadan wound up third in the league in hitting that year. He hit .328. Problem with Dave is he didn't have much power and he couldn't run.
Right.
But he's made quite a second career for himself as a hitting coach after 17 years in the big league.
Was with the Red Sox, was with San Diego.
Right. Was with Oakland for a while. So Magadan has had quite a career. He was a great college hitter. He had about 500 at Alabama.
Yep. Dave didn't have much of a take back. I think that's what prevented him from hitting a little more power. He wasn't a big guy by any stretch of the imagination, but
he was tall, but he wasn't real strong.
He didn't have hardly any movement back with his take back, and I think that's what prevented him from. It made him a very good line drive hitter and a singles hitter, and spray the ball over the ballpark and hit doubles, but I think he lost power by not having a little more of a take back. But what do I know?
Plenty. 2-2 to Ross with the pitcher on deck, and he hits one up the middle for a base hit.
Wow.
Prado to third. He's being waved around. Harris won't bother with a throw, and the Braves take the lead on a David Ross RBI single. It's 2-1 Atlanta.
Well, that's a David Ross one-handed changeup. Almost took it off the ground. Bad pitch. Out of the strike zone. And check swing. So look what I found.
The accidental RBI puts the Braves in front. So now Ross at first with one out, and Tehran, the pitcher, who lined out to center field in his first at bat, gives himself up and lines one, and Evans can't quite get there. It's a foul ball. So of the three Atlanta aces, Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz, who among the three do you think will be a first ballot Hall of Famer? Or do you think all three?
All
will?
three of them.
You think?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Unquestionably. Unless you got some old school guy in there that says, okay, we got to make him wait the first year, you know, which was kind of ridiculous. How many years was it? Was it the one was only Babe Ruth? Who were the first inductees that were inducted on the first ballot?
Cobb, Ruth, Wagner.
And that's, you know, and then there were, for a long time, it was like you had to wait. Well, what did Mickey Mantle or Willie Stam usually have to wait a year? Come on.
They didn't make Tom Seaver wait. He had the highest percentage in history.
Well, the 60s, I think, thinking started changing in a lot of areas. But it just seems kind of silly that, you know, someone has to wait 1 year just because, you know, you got to wait 1 year. Give me a break. If you're a great player, you go in.
And then you get some guys who have to wait forever, like Burt Blyleven, who finally got in this year. Here's the 1-2, up and into Tehran.
Burt's a good guy, too. I'm glad he did get in. I always felt he belonged. What do you feel about Jim Cott?
He's borderline. He's right there with Tommy John.
He's got 280-plus wins. You know, everybody remembers him. It's a trouble. Jim played into his 40s.
He played 25 years.
Yes, and people don't remember him when he started.
Tehran gets the bunt down. Evans makes the play. 3-4 sacrifice. Well, Cott, of course, was a member of those 65 Twins who battled the Dodgers in the World Series.
Right.
He and Mudcat Grant were the top two starters.
He was the number 2 starter to Mudcat Grant, and he was with Camilo Pascual. The great curveball Camilo.
The 5 original ones: Ruth, Cobb, Wagner, Walter Johnson, and Christy Mathewson. Don Sutton, a Hall of Famer.
Yes, Big Don. Great.
Often evoked on our telecast.
He's wicked stuff. Great curveball. Turnover, screwball, changeup. Herky-jerky motion. Plus, he had a razor blade in his mitt somewhere.
Was that legal?
Seriously.
Michael Bourne is 0 for 2. Reached on there, stole a base, and scored a run in the first.
He's a great pitcher.
The argument about Sutton is always that he was never really the best pitcher on his own staff because he played with such great teams and great pitching staffs.
Did he ever win 20? That was a knock on him.
I think he won 20 once. Right.
But, you know, Phil Niekro was pretty much a 500 pitcher and got in before him.
The argument for Niekro, I think, was that he played for such bad teams.
Right. And I think Phil deserved to be in. And I think Don deserves to be in. They are where they belong.
Well, 300 has been a benchmark. It's always been. And everybody with 300 wins is in the Hall of Fame. And frankly, you know, now that Maddox and Glavine are going to be going in, I don't know that anybody else is going to win 300 games. So it makes that number look that much more impressive.
Well, now it may drop down to 200. With unless there's a change in philosophy. But as you said, the starters, the pitch counts.
Well, you look at the way the Cy Young voting has changed. Felix Hernandez winning the Cy Young last year with 13 wins because his other numbers were so good, and so there's been a change of philosophy there among people voting for those awards. Ross unsure as to whether to break for third, and he goes back. And, eventually the people who are voting for the Cy Young are going to be the Hall of Fame voters, and maybe that philosophy changes and voters will be looking at other things, walks and hits per innings pitched and strikeouts and all that kind of stuff.
I wonder how you're saying the Veterans Committee, those guys voting on.
No, I'm talking more about the baseball writers who do the initial balloting. That, the people who are the same people who voted in Tim Lincecum with 15 wins and Felix Hernandez with 13 wins are not going to be looking at wins as much as they're going to be looking at other stats when they vote for the Hall of Fame.
Is the bar going to be lowered with the Veterans Committee as generations move on, too? You're going to have guys, not everybody got caught ball 4 there. I mean, as far as the steroids are concerned, there are going to be a few people that are going to get in that I feel are questionable. And is that going to, when they go on the Veterans Committee, is that going to change the philosophy on players that use steroids?
Well, the problem, of course, with the whole steroid question is that we know some who did, and we certainly suspect others who might have, but we'll never know for sure.
Right.
Who did not, and who did. And, what happens if a guy gets voted into the Hall of Fame with a clean reputation and then it comes out that he used steroids? Are they going to vote him out? It becomes a very sticky situation. Now 2 on and 2 out for Chipper Jones, and he takes low for ball 1. I mean, the active leader in wins is Tim Wakefield, who failed again last night to get his 200th. I mean, Tim Wakefield's had a nice career, but he's not going to be a Hall of Famer.
No.
Even at 200 wins.
Well, Niekro won 300, did he not?
Mm-hmm. And he won his 300th game, notably throwing all fastballs.
That's right. I forgot. Well, he came up like everybody else. He was a sinker slider pitcher and had to didn't have the stuff to really be a top echelon pitcher. Went to the knuckleball.
That's really true of most knuckleballers, isn't it? That they get to the knuckleball because they don't succeed otherwise. I mean, Wakefield was a minor league infielder before he became a knuckleball pitcher.
I always felt that Phil Niekro looked like Kirk Douglas.
He does.
He looks exactly like Kirk Douglas. I always felt I was hitting off Spartacus.
Chipper's 0 for 2. He struck out looking both his at bats against G, and he fouls this one off, and it's 2-2. The second leading active pitcher in wins is Roy Halladay. He has 185. He's 34 years old, but then comes CC Sabathia, who has 176 wins, and he's only 30. So he could possibly get close to 300, depending on how his body holds up.
You got to stay healthy, right?
2-2 to Chipper. Pulled foul. I mean, when you have a body like Sabathia's, you always worry about the weight dragging him down.
Even now, but he's proven. His stuff is exceptional.
I mean, he's a horse at age 30, but what's he going to be at age 35? And I guess that's the question. Is Hudson in between Halladay and Sabathia? Hudson's 36 years old now. And Levo, we're not quite sure. 2-2. And Chipper hits it out to center field. Willie Harris has it lined up. And that retires the side. The Braves regain the lead on David Ross's RBI hit. Halfway through, it's 2-1 Atlanta. Fifth inning recap. Braves have taken 2 leads in this game. Mets tied it in the first on Bay's sacrifice fly, and they'll try and get even again as they come to bat in the bottom of the 5th against Julio Teheran, who's looking for his first major league win. He's allowed a run on 5 hits. Dylan G has allowed just 3 hits and only 1 earned run. He sacrificed his first time up. Reyes and Turner to follow in the bottom of the 5th. And G takes a strike.
That fastball right there was 91 miles an hour. It is a big drop off in velocity right there from earlier.
He was throwing 94 early in the game.
You just never know if he's choking the ball at one time in particular, but it looks like his velocity has dropped.
Well, we mentioned that his last start a week ago in the minor leagues was not good. He got battered around for 6 runs in 3 innings. And you just never know with a young pitcher. He's only 20 years old, whether he's hitting a bit of a wall late in the year. I mean, I know with Chris Schwinden, the starting pitcher for the Mets in Game 1, they've already decided that that start is going to be his last because he's just thrown enough innings at this point of the season. And G goes down on strikes, so Teheran has his second strikeout. 1 out and nobody out. Let's check in with Kevin.
Well, Gary, we continue with our look around the Mets minor league system. We're going to do some pitchers this weekend and close it out there. But tonight, we go in the outfield one more time with Corey Vaughn. He was the Mets' 4th round selection out of San Diego State last year. And he's what a pedigree. Of course, his father, Greg, the great power hitter, had some prolific home run seasons. And then you talk about playing at San Diego State under Tony Gwynn. He's a great kid. He had a good first year in pro ball in Brooklyn last year. And he's an interesting guy. Not only is he smart, from what I've heard, he's a great worker, and he's also a diabetic. He plays with an insulin pump on his backside that he has to kind of replace every couple of days. As far as his production, last year terrific in Brooklyn. Started out in Savannah this year. First half of the season was an all-star at 30 RBIs, 4 home runs, 286 hitter. Then he got bumped up to St. Lucie, and it just didn't work out for him. He had a 162 month of August, finished up batting 219 for Port St. Lucie. So it's interesting. People have different takes on him. I talked to one scout who thought maybe he could be a 4th outfielder. Other scouts have liked him. Some say maybe a long swing. Still a way to go. He's 22 years old, but it'll be a big year for Corey Vaughn next year to see exactly how he comes through it and rebounds from that tough second half. Guys?
Reyes goes down on strikes for the second out. Well, when you're a college player like Corey Vaughn, the window's a little shorter in terms of getting out of a ball and working your way up the system.
You got to get it going quick. I mean, I was in the big leagues at 20, and that was too quick. But what are you going to do when you hit I hit 353 and led the league in hitting, and then made the team? Are you going to send me back down after hitting 350? I guess you're going to have to give me a look. I got sent down, then hit 330, and they never sent me back down again, even though I struggled.
Justin Turner hits one out to right center field, and Bourne ranging over. Easy inning for Julio Teheran. He sets down the Mets 1-2-3 after 5, 2-1 Atlanta. Sixth inning, Freddie Freeman leads off against Dylan G and bounces one foul. Freeman 0 for 2 in this game, but he had 3 hits in the opener, and along the way he set a new Atlanta Braves rookie record for hits in a season. He has 148 now. The old record was 146. Ronnie Gant held that record, 1988. Gant had 146 hits as a rookie for the Braves. So Freeman etches another mark in the book as he pops one up on the left side. And Justin Turner waiting for it, one away. Take a look at the other side of the diamond, presented by Bigelow Tea. Don Newcomb on Hank Aaron. How do I pitch him? I wish I could throw the ball under the plate.
Well, that's impossible.
Well, also, it wouldn't be a strike. Well, I guess his point was that Hank could hit anything.
Yes.
Had those amazing wrists. My first year broadcasting minor league baseball was in the Braves organization, and Hank at the time was the Braves farm director, and he would come and visit the various farm teams. And I watched him on several occasions stand behind the batting cage watching, Class A hitters take batting practice. And Hank would be standing back there shaking his head. Finally, he'd say, "Hey, give me the bat." And he'd get in the batter's box and he'd just whip his wrist once and he'd hit the ball off the wall at, 55 years old or whatever he was at the time. It was just, he couldn't necessarily impart what he knew because he had a gift that nobody else had. But he could show exactly what he meant.
Right. I have a great story in the minor leagues. Joe Ducky Medwick, the last guy to win the Triple Crown in the National League in the Gas House game, was our batting instructor, was a minor league batting instructor. And he traveled around, and we were in Double-A in Little Rock, and we were struggling offensively. Oh.
Ugla gets dusted by G.
That got him.
So Dylan G, who has had more hit by pitches than any pitcher in the National League, claims his 14th victim.
That's the elbow. Oh, the tricep. Better the tricep than the elbow. So to make a long story short, we're taking batting practice, and the same thing. Joe finally got frustrated, said, "Give me the bat." And Joe had a bad leg. He was Ducky Medwick. He walked like a duck.
Right.
Wasn't a big guy. He was in his early 70s. He said, "Throw me the ball," because he's talking about hitting the ball to all field, situation hitting. He goes, "I'm going to hit the ball to left field. I'm going to bring it around to left center, right center, and then I'm going to bring it back around in the other way." He hit 7 line drives exactly as he said.
And what'd you learn?
Nothing. But it was fun to watch. It was fun to watch.
I guess that's the point. There are some guys who are so gifted, they're beyond being able to teach, and sometimes that's why guys who have struggled make the best coaches. Although I know that you feel as though sometimes you like guys with better credentials to be coaches.
Right. Doesn't matter. You don't have to be a great major league player to be a great coach or a great manager. And Joe Medwick was out of the mold of Yogi Berra. He was a bad ball hitter.
It's hard to teach that. Hayward has been up twice, struck out both times. And a good changeup by G. He's had a good one tonight, 1 and 2. Threw a lot of changeups early in this game, and it has been a great weapon for him all year, particularly against the left-hand hitters. And he has handled those lefties tonight. Only 3 hits against him, all by right-hand hitters. But Chipper's 0 for 3, and Freeman's 0 for 3, and Hayward struck out twice. Bourne is 0 for 2. If you're going to face this Atlanta team, you better be able to get left-hand hitters out, because especially now with Bourne, they are a left-hand dominated lineup. Now the 2-2 to Hayward. Off the corner and a full count.
Well, that'll get Ugla in motion. And you don't like that with a left-hand hitter. And really the problem with Hayward this year, what I've seen, is he's become too much of a pull hitter. And I don't know if it's a problem with his shoulder, but he's pulling too much.
G has walked 1. He's struck out 4. Ugla's running, and Hayward's fouling it off.
It's very interesting how Tejada at second base is playing way off the bag. It's not at double play depth because, as I said, Hayward is pulling too much. So the normal double play depth, he'd be more up inclined, because we have no telestrat, he'd be around 10-15 feet more up the middle. But he's taken away that hole.
It's a verbal telestration. Hayward yanks that one foul.
Well, I'd like to get some of those green T-shirts. They're kind of cool, aren't they?
Well, the first 25,000 fans coming to the ballpark today were to get those
I think they're
green
hot.
T-shirts with the Mets emblem.
You wear them on St. Patty's Day? Be perfect.
They even make nice leg warmers.
I'd like to get some for my daughters. Myself.
I'll bring you about a gross.
Lorraine, are you listening?
Ninth pitch of the at-bat coming to Jason Hayward. And the curveball too high for ball 4. So G issues his second walk of the night. After hitting Ugla with a pitch, 2 men on. Prado coming up, and we'll check in with the studio. Chris Carlin's been standing by all night. Yeoman work by Chris. New York State Smokers Quit Line game break.
Oh, the old Cardinal uniform.
Old number 37.
Oh boy, the powder blue roadies.
And he's got his green T-shirt.
You know,
it's quite a combination, by the way, the powder blue and the green. Especially with the plaid shorts.
That was only 1 year we wore the number on our shoulder, and they took the number off below one of the birds on the left rib cage. I forget what year that was. It might have been 80.
They gutted the bird?
No, they didn't gut the bird. They gutted the number underneath the bird.
I see.
You can't gut. Jeez, I'd get PETA after you for crying out loud.
Well, especially in St. Louis. That would just be pond scum. Prado doubled and scored in the 5th inning. That was the go-ahead run in this 2-1 game. Ooh. And he flies this one to shallow center. Who's going to get it? Harris coming in. Tejada out, and it drops. Well, Harris came in on that ball very lazily, like he had no interest in that ball. And so Tejada had to go out, and he couldn't get there.
Well, Willie's playing very deep, and he should have took charge. You were absolutely correct. He's got to take charge of that ball. That's his. He yells right there that I got it. Tejada will move off and back off.
Well, they're going to charge an error on Tejada. That's a terrible scoring decision.
That should not be an error. It should be a base hit.
There's no way in the world that's an error on Tejada.
That's a base hit.
So now the bases are loaded without a base hit, unless they change that scoring decision, which I have a feeling they might.
I'm going to mark it base hit.
Who's our scorer tonight, Dave? Jordan Spreckman in the seat. He's a Columbia guy. He should know better.
Well, I don't know. Those Ivy Leaguers, I tell you.
We effete snobs? Is that what you're trying to say? Gonzalez 0 for 2, and he fouls back the fastball, 1-1. Justin Turner made a nice play, lunging to his left, and threw out Gonzalez's last time up. 1 for 6 in the doubleheader. Justin playing third base, where he got a lot of playing time while Wright was on the disabled list for 2 months. It's the 30th start for Turner at third base. 1-1 from G. And another fastball foul back, 1-2. So the Braves with a 2-1 lead and a chance for more on a hit batsman, a walk, and for the moment, an error.
It's a tough error. It was over the shoulder catch.
That
for
can't be
out.
an error. I mean, you want to charge an error of omission to Harris? You can use that old Dick Young team error concept, but that doesn't work. It's not part of the game. Pedro Beato up in the Mets bullpen with G up over 90 pitches for the night. Dylan needs a double play ball with Gonzalez, who hits a lot of ground balls. Pops this one up. That'll work. In foul ground for Justin Turner. And that's the second out. So Gonzalez, who couldn't move the runner over in the 5th, can't get the run in the 6th. And now the bases are loaded with 2 out for David Ross, who checks swing one up the middle his last time up.
That was a very laissez-faire at bat right there, and a team that the manager has put the starting lineup out there in both games, with the Cardinals kind of, you know, on the outer fringe, wanting apparent that the manager wants to win 2 here. It just really was not a very focused at bat, and a 2-1 ball game late.
So here's Ross, who drove in the go-ahead run with the base hit his last time up, and G gets ahead of him 0-1.
What about Vance Worley?
He's 11-1.
Jeez.
And the Phillies have won, I think, 14 straight starts by Worley. The most since Wayne Simpson in 1970 for the Reds. Remember, Simpson was 14-3 at the All-Star break that year, and then they got hurt. He was never the same.
They had Gary Nolan, and the year before he won 18 as a rookie, and then Simpson, and they both hurt their arms.
But it's the longest streak of wins for a team by a rookie starter since Simpson. It's 41 years ago. 0-2 now to Ross. So, you know, Worley's pitched well, and he's been in the right place at the right time. And it has certainly sparked a lot of discussion in Philadelphia about who their 4th starter should be, Oswalt or Worley, in the postseason. Still have a feeling it's going to be Oswalt. Now G with a chance to get out of 6th inning trouble. The 0-2 to Ross. He struck him out with a fastball. So G works his way out of a bases loaded jam in the 6th to keep it a 1-run game at Citi Field. against third-generation big leaguer Casey Coleman, who's had a rough year. Chris Capuano Saturday against Randy Wells, who shut out the Giants not long ago. And then Sunday, Miguel Batista makes his third start. He's been outstanding against Matt Garza, who I think you'd have to consider the ace of that Cubs staff. Lucas Duda, Jason Bay, and Willie Harris up for the Mets in the bottom of the sixth, with the Mets down 2-1 against the rookie right-hander Julio Teheran. Teheran has allowed 5 hits over the first 5 innings, trying for his first big league win. Duda's 0 for 2, twice has flied out. Love the fact that he plays Hendrix for his walk-up music.
All along the watchtower.
I mean, how many 24-year-olds are Hendrix fans? Curveball for a strike. And I have heard a lot more, old school walk-up music lately.
Oh, we just missed that one.
Michael Bourne barely asked to move. 1 out. I mean, we heard, who'd we hear with a Led Zeppelin walk-up song in Florida?
Shoot. Yes.
So these kids are tuned in.
Yes. Maybe they were listening to Timothy Leary.
Well, they probably don't know who Timothy Leary was, and if they do, they probably think he was a pitcher for the Mets and the Dodgers.
That's true.
Here's Jason Bay. A sacrifice fly back in the first for the only Met run in this game. Bay has driven in 5 of the 6 Mets runs in this doubleheader, a first-inning grand slam in Game 1. Phillies have 6 runs home, and that inning is finally over in Milwaukee. Chris Narveson had held them to 1 hit over the first 5 innings, but that disappeared quickly.
And the Phillies just keep on rolling.
Going for their 92nd win tonight against 48 losses. It would appear as though the Phillies have a really good chance of having their best record ever. The most wins they've ever had in a year is 102.
Oh, yeah.
In their 129 years in the National League.
Was that 1976?
Yeah, I believe so.
I remember that year. They blew the league. I remember with the Cardinals, and that was kind of the transformation year where the old 68, 67 Cardinals were getting old. And Lou was still there. Gibson was gone. Lou Brock, for all you kids that wouldn't know that era. And we were 24 games out of first place at the end of May. That's how hot the Phillies got out that year. That's when they had Luzinski and Schmidt. They had a very, very good team. Dave Cash was playing second base, I believe. Bo at short.
Too high, ball 4, and Bay's on with a 1-out walk. That's the first walk of the night issued by the 20-year-old Teheran. And so the tying run aboard, Willie Harris, the batter. Harris has one of the Mets' 5 hits, single to center in the first, flied out in the fourth. Of course, the Phillies that year did not make it to the World Series, beaten by the Reds, who then went on to sweep the Yankees in the World Series in '76.
Where is the cowbell man?
Well, the problem here at Citi Field is that there are no mid-range aisles in any of the decks, so he has to stand behind the seats in the concourse in order to ring his bell. But on a night like tonight, when there aren't that many people in the ballpark, you can hear the cowbell resonate.
In Cleveland, the old Memorial Stadium, they had a guy that was out there with 2 big drums.
He's still there, by the way.
Oh, gosh. On a day game? He had a headache? Oh, please. Like, give me a hand grenade.
That same guy. There's cowbell, man.
There he is.
More cowbell.
He had like tom-toms. There were 2 drums.
Well, the
and
same
he just sit there and beat them all
His
day.
name, I think, is John Adams, and he's been there for like 35 years. He's still at Progressive Field in Cleveland, out in the outer reaches, hitting those big kettle drums.
Ouch. Painful.
Just another painful part of your Cleveland experience. 2-0 to Willie Harris, with Bay the tying run at first and 1 out. And there goes Bay.
He's got it.
The throw by Ross is high, and Bay sneaks the stolen base, his 11th of the year. That's a good time to run.
Well, Gonzalez is late getting to the bag. He's late.
So Bay in scoring position with one out, a 3-0 count on Harris. And that's ball 4, and so Harris is on. Back-to-back walks issued by Tehran. It's Big East football on SNY. Get live conference action all day long on SNY's triple header Saturday, featuring Rutgers in North Carolina, Rhode Island at Syracuse, and UConn at Vanderbilt. It all starts Saturday at 12:30 p.m. only on SNY. Well, that's going to be all for Julio Tehran. Freddie Gonzalez is going to make a double switch. And Christian Martinez will come in to pitch for the Braves. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Lincoln. Tehran takes his exit, 2-1 Atlanta in the 6th. Acquisition by the Braves comes in to play shortstop. He'll bat 9th, and Christian Martinez will come in to pitch.
Well, Martinez, you can see, doesn't walk a lot of people.
Nick Evans, the batter, with 2 aboard and 1 out. He takes a strike. Nick has struck out and popped a short, 0 for 2 in this game. A couple of walks by Julio Tehran before he took his exit, giving the Mets a chance to tie or take the lead here in the 6th.
Nick has been coming through in these situations on a consistent basis.
In the air to right center field. Back goes Hayward, and he'll have room. Tagging at second is Bay. He'll go to third, but now there are 2 out. Well, Evans in the first game hit one to a similar spot against Johnny Venters in the 8th inning. Now Tehran, 5 1/3 innings and a chance for his first big league win. 5 hits, 1 run so far, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. So the tying run at third with 2 down, and now Josh Tolley is 2 for 2, twice a single into center field. Martinez last pitch day before yesterday in Philadelphia gave up 2 runs in an inning of work.
Big changeup right there, kind of out of the same mold as Tehran's changeup. Big sink. His delivery is more 3/4. Tehran is more over the top, thus getting that big sink away. It runs away from lefties.
29-year-old Christian Martinez deals 2-0, and another changeup has Tolley out in front, 2-1.
It is the pitch of choice. This decade here, I guess, of what we've seen. Every pitcher loves the changeup. Boy, make me just salivate. I want to get out there with a bat.
Yanked foul by Tolley, and it's 2-2.
Then it's great fun, Gary, when you hit their changeup and they go, "Oh my gosh, I can't get them out the changeup." Then what are they going to do? They're going to come inside with a fastball. Tell the catcher, "Relax, I got this one. I got this one."
Tolley hits one to short. Jack Wilson just into the game, and Ugla just got to the bag to get the force play. Wow, that was almost a mess for the Braves, but Ugla got there just ahead of Harris.
Wow.
And kicked the bag on the way by.
Two of this double dip, Mets and the Braves. Welcome back. We saw Willie Harris hit there. He's been hot with the bat of late, but think about Willie Harris and any veteran for that point who is a good teammate, trying to help the younger guys who are essentially taking away their playing time and essentially taking money out of their pocket. And I talked to Willie about that today. I mean, baseball is a game. Certainly it's a team game, but it's also a personal game, an individual game where stats, make you salary. And I asked Willie, what is that role like, and how do you help the young guys, and how do you determine to do that when they're taking time away from you? And he said, there's multiple reasons, but for the instance of Lucas Duda, who has been in his ear quite a bit, as this one is going to be a gapper. Lucas Duda cuts it off. Maybe trying for two now is Wilson. Here comes the throw, and he's in.
Another piece of the education of Lucas Duda, right fielder. Took his time, and Wilson legged it into a double.
Well, Wilson hustles all the way here. This is the second time that Lucas has been caught kind of lollygagging here and assuming that no one's going to take the extra base.
Well, that's the way Jack Wilson's always played the game. He's always been one of my favorite players. 7.5 years the starting shortstop in Pittsburgh, and he sensed that he could take the extra base on Duda, and he did.
And it was no fumbling with the ball by Duda. And that's going to get Terry Collins out, and that's going to get his pitcher out of the ball game. So I'm sure Lucas doesn't feel very good about that.
So Dylan G goes 6 innings plus, and he'll take his exit, trailing in the game 2-1 as the Mets go to the bullpen. Good effort by G. And Daniel Herrera, who pitched in the opening game for 2 innings, will go right back out there and pitch here in the nightcap. And he has been awfully impressive so far. Playing for the bunt now with Michael Bourne up, and he gets that bunt down. Told he's going to have to hurry, and gets the out at first. So Wilson moves over to third. 2-3 on the sacrifice, and the Braves have a runner at third with 1 out.
Well, the Braves looking to tack on here. Got the right guy up. You're going to walk Chipper, pitch to Freeman.
I think that would be the right course of action. The left-hander on the mound. Chipper's 0 for 3 in this game. Struck out looking twice and flying to center. They're going to pitch to him.
They're going to pitch to him, bring the infield in.
How about that?
Very curious how the infield's in. We can look at Turner over there on the left at third base. He's back. They're going to pitch very carefully.
Well, Daniel Herrera pitched 2 scoreless innings in the opener, pitched the 6th and 7th, gave up just 1 hit. And it's lined left field. On comes Bay, reaching out, diving, and making the catch. But Wilson tags and comes in to score to make it 3-1 Atlanta. Beautiful catch by Bay, but no chance to get himself peeled off the turf as Jack Wilson scores.
Well, saves a base hit here. Chipper gets the run in. Nice play.
So that play by Wilson to take the extra base on Duda pays off in a run for Atlanta. Now Freeman bats with 2 out and nobody on. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Taken wide for ball 1. Kevin was telling us about Willie Harris. Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to finish the thought about, that whole veteran bench player / leadership / teaching the young guys thing. Willie said the reason he does it because he's a good kid. I want him to believe, and he said, as far as me, I'm a utility guy in Major League Baseball's eyes. In my heart, I may be an everyday player, but it's just another experience on my list, and Willie wants to be a manager someday. So he says, you know what, it's great experience for me. I'm experiencing different things and hopefully achieve my goal. I could kind of put that in my cap. Guys?
Over Herrera, In is Tejada, and he throws out Freeman to end the inning. Braves tack on a run. 7th inning stretch in the nightcap. 3-1 Atlanta. Out of it now in the American League Central. The Tigers started the day with a 9-game lead. J.P. Arancibia has had a nice year as the catcher in Toronto. They beat Boston 7-4. And the Phillies, with that 6-run 6th inning, up 6-2 on Milwaukee, despite a Corey Hart home run, is 24th. That game's now in the 7th. Ruben Tejada leads off in the home 7th for New York, and he takes a strike from Christian Martinez, who got the final 2 outs in the 6th. Tejada hitting 8th in the order. Mike Baxter has come out on deck to pinch hit. And then Jose Reyes, with the Mets down by 2 in the 7th. And Tejada takes a strike, 0-2. Braves won the opener 6-5. Mets in danger of getting swept in a doubleheader for the 3rd time this year in 4 doubleheaders. And for the 2nd time by Atlanta. Braves swept 2 from the Mets in a doubleheader at Turner Field back in April. And Tejada waves weakly and goes down on strikes. So 1 out and nobody on. And now Baxter will be the pinch hitter. Mike from Whitestone recalled the other day. Had a pinch hitting appearance in Florida and struck out. That was in the 12-inning game on Tuesday night.
Really hasn't had much of an opportunity to play. Primarily pinch hitting. But you're in the big leagues.
And playing for the team he grew up rooting for as a Queens kid, out of Archbishop Malloy. Jose Reyes on deck.
He chokes up on the bat.
Little dribbler. Off the mound is Martinez. 2 out. So Christian Martinez has faced 4 and retired 4. And now Reyes will bat with 2 out and nobody on. Reyes 1 for 3 in this game. 2 for 4 in the doubleheader. Had a base hit and scored the Mets' only run in the 1st. Then he lined out in the 2nd, struck out in the 5th. All of that against Julio Teheran, the Braves starter, who went 5 1/3. Corners in against Reyes, who takes a strike. Pedro Beato getting ready in the Mets bullpen. Behind Daniel Herrera, who did a nice job again in relief. A little tight, 1-1. And he hooks one in the air to right field. Hayward back onto the track. Side retired. 1, 2, 3 go the Mets before Christian Martinez. We move to the 8th in Game 2 of the doubleheader. 3-1 Atlanta. Field when the Mets and Nationals open a 4-game series. Mets-Nats Monday 6:30 right here on SNY. Pedro Beato will pitch the top of the 8th for New York.
Well, Pedro has the hot start early, the scoreless string, if you recall, in April, and then got hurt, and has kind of got some growing pains since he's come back off the DL. He's pitched well. Been a little ups and downs, but all in all, it's been a good season, good rookie season for Mr. Beato.
Last pitch Tuesday night in the 12-inning game in Florida, went 2/3 of an innings, hit a batter, and did not give up anything else. He'll come in to face Dan Uggla, leading off in the 8th inning. Braves trying for the sweep of the doubleheader, leading 3-1. Uggla drove in the first run in this game with a 2-out single in the first. He's 1 for 2. Also was hit on the arm by a pitch by Dylan G, who looked a lot better here tonight.
Oh, good curve. You think Uggla was looking for a fastball middle in first pitch? Got completely fooled.
Comes back with the breaking ball and he lays off 1-1. Jason Hayward on deck, then Martin Prado for the Braves in the 8th. They have only 4 hits in this game, but they've taken advantage of some Mets defensive mistakes. Reyes led off the game by making a throwing error with Michael Bourne, and Bourne came around to score as Eric O'Flaherty gets up in the bullpen.
I just learned that I went to high school with Eric O'Flaherty's father. I think his name was Bill O'Flaherty, and I have no recollection. I was emailed by a friend back in California that went to school with me. So how about that? Little tidbit.
It's a small world.
The tidbit. Minister of Miscellaneous Information.
Well, I'm sure it matters to Eric and his dad to have such a close connection with you. Uggla takes a call, 3rd strike, 1 down in the 8th. Let's check in with the studio. Chris Carlin is there with the New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Ricky Romero got the win in that game for Toronto. He's got 14 wins this year for the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are in such a difficult position, and this is where the Mets are increasingly finding themselves. You know, when you play in that American League East with the Yankees and Red Sox, you can have a really good year and finish 3rd. I mean, right. Toronto with that win tonight is 15 games over 500. and they've got no chance. And here are the Mets now in a division which the Phillies are dominating, and where the Braves look like they're going to continue to be strong, and where the Nationals are getting better. And it really gives you an idea how much the Mets need to upgrade their personnel in order to be able to compete from year to year.
I think the Nationals are on the rise. I'm not sold on the Marlins. I think the Marlins are in a little bit of trouble. They got a lot of spots to fill.
Three and one to Hayward, who struck out twice and drawn a walk. And he lifts one to shallow left. And it's Turner with the back pedal to grab it. Caught it in fair territory, 2 down. Two out and nobody on now. Martin Prado. Prado is 0 for 3. He doubled to left center and scored a run in the 5th. So Beato has set down his first 2 hitters. And it's lifted out to left center field. This one should belong to Jason Bay. And that retires the side. So a quick inning for Beato. The Braves are down 1-2-3. Mets will have Turner, Duda, and Bay coming up in the bottom of the 8th, down by 2. Brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce. Want the perfect balance of flavor and heat? Add Cholula Hot Sauce to your next meal. Just look for the iconic wooden cap. By Heineken and by New York Community Bank. Bottom of the 8th inning, Justin Turner leads off against Christian Martinez. And Turner takes a strike. Justin 1 for 3 in game 2. Single to right in the first, extending his hitting streak to 9 games. Ball and a strike to Turner with Duda and Bay to follow. Martinez came on with 1 out in the 6th. He's faced 5 and retired 5, and so Freddie Gonzalez rolls him back out there for the 8th. He used all of his primetime relievers, O'Flaherty, Venters, and Kimbrel in the first game. Here's the good changeup by Martinez, 1-2.
It's a very, very effective pitch from Martinez, and is befuddling the Met lineup.
O'Flaherty is up in the bullpen. So is the side-arming Aussie, Peter Moylan, recently back from the disabled list. I'll tell you, they've got a plethora of arms in that bullpen as Turner goes down looking. That's 2 strikeouts for Martinez and 6 in a row retired. Get complete pre- and post-game coverage of the Jets season opener with special guests and a Rex Ryan exclusive as Joe Klecko, Ray Lucas, Chris Jenkins, Adam Shine, and Brian Custer broadcast live from MetLife Stadium on SNY's opening night coverage Sunday starting at 7, only on SNY. Well, Martinez leaves after a very effective stint, 2 innings of perfect relief. Braves go to their bullpen and bring in O'Flaherty. We'll be right back. Bill O'Flaherty's son Eric comes on to pitch for the Braves.
Well, he's one of the left-handers in that pen, obviously, and one of that terrific pen in 69 appearances. He's not giving up very many hits.
Lucas Duda hits one sharply, but right at Ugla, it comes up and handcuffs him, but he makes the play, 2 out. So 7 in a row retired by the Atlanta bullpen. Now Jason Bay. Bay's had another good game. Sacrifice fly in the first, walked and stole a base in the 6th. In the opener, had 2 hits, including his second grand slam of the year. So things continue to go well for Jason. Mets, if they don't have a rally in them, are going to fall back to 3 games under 500. And Terry Collins acknowledged before the game today that it is certainly an important goal for this team to try and finish over 500 with all that has befallen them this year. And he intends to make that point known. He talked before the game today about how his team was a little physically worn out, and that's why he gave David Wright a game off and Angel Pagan a game off. But the Mets, who had such spark in that road trip to Washington and Florida, have had their troubles today. And Bay sneaks one through the hole, and the Mets have a 2-out base runner. That's a 7-game hitting streak now for Jason. And they'll get the tying run to the plate. Willie Harris due up, but we're going to see the first Met plate appearance for Val Pascucci, the longtime minor league home run king, is going to get a turn at bat. He'll come to the plate as the tying run.
Well, there it is. And the big guy from California. How many home runs in the minors, Gary?
234.
Crash Davis, as you say.
Well, Pascucci had a major league cup of coffee with the Montreal Expos in 2004. In fact, he played in the last Montreal Expos game ever. That was at Shea Stadium. And he had 3 hits that last game for Montreal. in the last game before they moved to Washington, and that was his only big league experience until this week. Pascucci went to Japan, played for Bobby Valentine for a while there, and has taken every job offered to him trying to get back, and here he is, his first major league plate appearance in 7 years. And he is a huge fella. And Pascucci takes a breaking ball for a strike. Val played this year at Norfolk, and he was the MVP of that Norfolk team. 32 years old now.
Ooh, good sinker.
Oh, and 2 to Pascucci. And it's taken low. Val hit 21 home runs for Buffalo this year, drove in 91. His last big league home run was against Al Leiter in 2004. He had only 2 home runs during that stint with Montreal. He had his first one in Florida and his second one at Shea Stadium. One-two from O'Flaherty, and Pascucci lines a base hit. May turns second, he'll hold there, so Val Pascucci in his first at bat as a New York Met has himself a base hit, and the Mets have the tying runs on base.
Well, he got himself a high changeup here. And let go with one hand. That ball's in a little more. He might have launched it.
Well, he's been waiting a long time for that base hit. Now the Mets are going to run for him. Jason Pridey will run for Pascucci. So the Mets gave him Carlos Beltran's old number 15, and he does the number proud. So Pascucci comes through as a pinch hitter. Now Pridey runs for him, carrying the tying run at first base. And Nick Evans will be the batter.
And Freddie Gonzalez leaving the left-hander out there. He's got Moylan ready.
It would appear he'd like to stay away from Venters and Kimbrel in this game. So he's managing a little differently than he might otherwise. So Evans with an opportunity. Nick, who had 3 go-ahead hits in one game on Tuesday night, bats here with the tying runs on base, and he takes a strike. Nick is 0 for 3 in this game, 1 for 6 in the doubleheader. He has 4 home runs this year. Long ball here would give the Mets the lead. O'Flaherty misses low and inside, a ball and a strike. Day at second with a 2-out hit. Pridey running for Pascucci at first. And Evans hits one past the mound. Wilson gets to it and gets up and throws him out. Jack Wilson with a terrific sliding play behind the bag. And the Mets are done in the bottom of the 8th. Wilson not only keeps it on the infield, but manages to scramble to his feet and make the play. Nicely done. We go to the ninth inning. Eric Hinsky will be the pinch hitter for Atlanta, batting for the pitcher O'Flaherty, who got bailed out on a fine defensive play by Jack Wilson to end the bottom of the eighth. Hinsky pinch hit in the first game and drew a walk, now facing Pedro Beato, who pitched a 1-2-3/8 and stays on for the ninth inning. And Craig Kimbrell will get up in the Atlanta bullpen. Kimbrell, who saved game one, will be looking for number 44 tonight. A ball and a strike to Hinsky with David Ross and Jack Wilson to follow in the top of the ninth. The Braves have only 4 hits in this game, but they parlayed that into 3 runs. The Mets 1 run and 7 hits. And the curveball from Beato in for a strike, 1-2. Tomorrow night, Mets and Cubs here at Citi Field with Mike Pelfrey on the mound. The Cubs, like the Mets, have been playing some of their best baseball after they were far out of the race. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
A lot of teams play better when they're out of it. They can get rid of those Archie Bell and the Drells.
Cubs are a team in transition, having fired their general manager, Jim Hendry, recently after a long run. Of course, it's been a longer run for the Cubs as far as their lack of a world championship, going on 103 years now. And there have been a lot of guys move through that GM's office and through the manager's seat without finding success.
Oh, those 84 Cubs, they blew it against the Padres.
Shallow center field, and Pridey is there. Hinsky retired, 1 out. Let's see what's coming up on Lincoln Post Game Live. Chris Carlin and Bobby Ojeda with a preview. All right, guys, we'll check in with you after the game. Here's David Ross with 1 out in the top of the ninth. Ross 1 for 3, singled in the go-ahead run in the 5th. Looking ahead to the bottom of the ninth, the Mets will have the lower third of the order up. Tolley, Tejada, and the pitcher spot. Don't forget the Mets have David Wright and Angel Pagan in the dugout. And Ross hits one well out to center field. Pridey going back onto the track right at the wall. It's out of here.
Oh, my goodness.
David Ross with a home run straight away. His 6th home run of the year, and it's 4-1 Atlanta. Now Ross, who always seems to do something productive when he gets a chance to play, has delivered 2 of the 4 RBIs for the Braves tonight in an impressive home run. And the guy with the biggest smile is his partner in catching gear, Brian McCann. Breaking the ball in for a strike to Wilson.
Sorry, Gary. I thought I got towards the end of the bat. I guess he did not. That wasn't a bad pitch. A little up, but on the outside part of the outside corner. That's some power.
Jack Wilson batting for the 2nd time. Came in on a double switch. And Wilson has contributed in multiple ways. Hustled a double and scored a run. They made a nice defensive play to save a run as he fouls this one off, 1-2. Wilson began the year in Seattle, where they really had 2 shortstops at once. He and Brendan Ryan, who had come over from the Cardinals, and they moved Wilson to second base. And at one point he took himself out of a game, and that kind of drove a wedge, no pun intended, with his manager Eric Wedge in Seattle, and ultimately led to his being traded out of town. Braves picked him up on the 31st of August, the last day that players can be eligible for the postseason with the new team. And Wilson provides them with an outstanding backup for Alex Gonzalez. As he holds his swing, and it's 3-2. And, you know, I know Gonzalez is the incumbent and is a long ball threat, but it wouldn't be all that shocking as Anthony Varvaro gets up in the bullpen to see Wilson playing in the postseason. There's a beautiful stop by Reyes, and he throws him out. That ball was behind Jose, and he reached back and got it. 2 away.
Well, some kind of play right here. Beautiful backhand. Gets off his one knee. Nice stab. And then it's all about the agility. Look at him get up in the cannon. That's a highway robbery.
20 years. 2 out and nobody on. Here's Michael Bourne, 0 for 2 in this game. Reached on an error, stole a base, and scored a run in the first to get the Braves started. Mets tied it in the bottom of the first, but the Braves went ahead in the 5th, and they have tacked on since. A run in the 7th and the home run by Ross here in the 9th. If the Braves win, they will go into St. Louis with a 7.5 game wild card lead on the Cardinals. And that would certainly force the Cardinals to have to sweep and do a whole lot more to even consider being in that wild card race the final 2 weeks. The season ends 3 weeks from yesterday, on a Wednesday. Rifle toward the gap in right center field, and that's got triple written all over it for the speedy Bourne. As it rolls to the 415, Bourne can walk into third base. His 8th triple of the year.
Gets this fastball up, and no one's going to get that, and that goes to the 415. Oh, right down Broadway. And release the hounds.
He doesn't even look like he's running hard.
It's very, very effortless, was it not?
So here's Chipper Jones. Beato's now giving up a home run and a triple here in the 9th. Chipper had a line drive to left that Jason Bay made a great play on in the 7th, but it went for a sacrifice fly to stretch the Atlanta lead. And he pulls this one into right, and that's a base hit, and that'll bring home Bourne. It goes to the wall, and Chipper ambles towards second. He's got an RBI double, and now it's 5-1 Atlanta. So a homer, a triple, and a double off Beato here in the 9th.
Got hurt in the fastball again. Chipper first ball fastball hitting. We'll see if it gets any sink. Straight as a string, right down Broadway.
So Chipper hitting second in this doubleheader for the first time in 15 years. Has his 3rd extra base hit in the 2 games. Dan Warthen out for a conversation before Beato works to Freddie Freeman. So Beato pitched a spotless 8th inning, got the side 1-2-3, but has weakened here in the 9th. And now he will take on Freeman as DJ Carrasco gets up in the Mets bullpen. Freddie Freeman, playing both ends of this doubleheader, has now played 138 games at first base this year as a rookie for Atlanta. The only other rookie in Braves history to play as many games at first base in one season did so nearly 100 years ago. Butch Schmidt for the 1914 World Series winning Miracle Boston Braves played 147 games at first base, and now, almost 100 years later, Freddie Freeman is number 2 on that list.
That's the beauty of baseball, is it not?
Well, especially for a franchise that has occupied 3 different cities, Boston to Milwaukee to Atlanta. Freeman getting the intentional pass, and they'll work to Dan Uggla instead. We said it during the first game. Freeman in any other year would be a prime rookie of the year consideration. In this year, he's not even the best rookie on his own team. Here's Uggla coming up with 2 out and 2 on. Coming up tonight on Geico Sports Night, we'll take you inside the Mets clubhouse. Lots of Jets and Giants news as they get ready for their opener. Geico Sports Night tonight after the postgame, only on SNY. Here's Uggla. 1 for 3. He's also been hit by a pitch. Drove in the first Atlanta run in this game. Braves won the opener 6-5. They're now up 5-1 in the 9th. And it's popped up in foul ground. Tolley coming back. And he has just enough room to grab it. And that retires the side. But the Braves tack on 2. Ross with the home run. 5-1 Atlanta as we go to the bottom of the 9th. Keeping a doubleheader, and native New Yorker Anthony Varvaro will try and finish it up.
Well, Varvaro was called up September 1st, so he is a September call-up. Pitched at AAA in Gwinnett.
We saw him earlier this year. He pitched here at Citi Field back in early August, went 2 1/3 innings. Josh Thole leads off in the last of the ninth. Thole 2 for 3 on the night. Angel Pagan has come out on deck to pinch hit as Thole takes a strike. Anthony Varvaro grew up in Staten Island, went to Curtis High School, and then on to St. John, so he is a New Yorker through and through. And Thole lines one to left. On comes Prado to slide, but did he get it?
He did.
He did. Nice play by Prado. Got that ball off to the side as he made that slide.
He got a great jump on this. That's the difference. And that's the correct call.
So one nice play by Prado, 1 out in the bottom of the ninth. And now Angel Pagan will bat for Ruben Tejada. Pagan played the opening game today and went 1 for 3. Josh Satin has come out on deck to bat for the pitcher. As Varvaro deals to Pagan, and it's up and in for ball 1. There's Satin, who was used as a pinch hitter in the first game. A ball and a strike to Pagan. Well, if the Braves bullpen can secure 2 more outs, 20-year-old Julio Teheran will have his first major league win. Made his 3rd start tonight, went 5 1/3, allowed a run on 5 hits. As Pagan lofts one into center field and overcomes Bourne, 2 out. And off what we saw tonight, you have to figure if it's Teheran's first win, it may well be the first of many.
He's shown some tremendous promise. Throws hard, got a good changeup, got a decent curve.
So now the Mets are down to their final line, and Josh Satin, the batter. Satin grounded out in his pinch hit at bat in the first game as Ike Davis looks on. And Satin takes it low, and Varvaro falls behind 2-0. Josh Satin out of Cal Berkeley facing Anthony Varvaro from St. John's. And now it's 3-0. Jose Reyes on deck, hoping for another turn. Reyes has gone 1 for 4 tonight in his pursuit of the batting title. Last check, Ryan Braun was hitless tonight. Braun is 0 for 3. There's a strike to Satin, 3-1. And Satin fouls one off his fists, and now he's down to his last strike.
You know, they talked about Satin having an unorthodox swing. I don't see it. I think he's got a nice stroke. I don't see anything peculiar about his swing. I mean, you can say Jason Bay is unorthodox, but he's got a nice swing.
Here's the 3-2, and he fouls one off the right side. Well, it has certainly been a successful swing in the minor leagues. He's hit 300 everywhere he's gone in his minor league career. 26 years old. Never a big prospect. 25th round draft pick.
He's a Cal Berkeley guy, right? I'm going to have to say hello to him tomorrow. Didn't get a chance to in Florida.
Again, the 3-2 from Varvaro, and Satin pops one up into foul ground. Wilson over for a look, but that's well back in the crowd. And one more souvenir on a long day of baseball. Started almost 7 hours ago. The Braves coming in here for a makeup doubleheader after the 2 games washed away by Hurricane Irene, on a stopover between Philadelphia and St. Louis, and the Braves on the verge of making this a very productive interlude. 3-2 to Satin, and he fouls another one. So you've got your green giveaway shirts, and then you've got your green Jets jersey.
I want my green giveaway shirt.
Sound like the kid in I Want My Maypole.
Yes. Very good. Very good, Garrett.
This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat to Satin, trying to keep the Mets alive. And it's in there for a call, strike 3, and the ball game is over. The Braves sweep the doubleheader. 20-year-old Julio Teheran gets his first major league win as the Braves now pull 7.5 games up in the National League wildcard race.
Well, the Braves showed their mettle here, coming in after getting swept 3 in Philadelphia, having to come here and play a makeup doubleheader and sweep, with St. Louis kind of breathing on their neck a little bit. This is a big doubleheader sweep for them. Not much really to say for on the Mets side. They got outpitched today. Dylan G pitched well, but not good enough.
So Teheran gets the victory, his first in the major leagues. Mets fall to 3 games under 500 as the Braves sweep the Mets a doubleheader for the 2nd time this season. 5-1 the final. Back with more in a moment.